Well, first we had Man, Bear, Pig, and Al Gore, and now we have Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and the brand new Green Deal. This is Luke Radowski and Jason Burmis of We Are Change, and in this video we are going to be talking about very important details that you need to know about this brand new Green Deal, which actually isn't that new, as well as some important context to the hot button issue that is AOC, or Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, which people are obsessing about, and yes, finally, we're going to be doing a video about. But first of all, Jason, you've been doing the research and homework on this new Green Deal. People are saying it's absolutely naive. There's a lot of lunacy. Is there any truth to those accusations?
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of off the charts in its lunacy. Aside from a lot of things that I'm going to pick apart, it's not new. It's not really a deal for any of the people. And the fact sheet that they tried to put out that they were going to promote this quote-unquote resolution, because it's not a bill, let's get that clear right now, it's not a bill, actually did have the unwilling to work. They weren't sure whether they were going to get rid of supposed cow farts and airplanes in 10 years. Kind of insane language. And the resolution, when you pick it apart again, is no better, Luke. So it is nuts.
Yeah, I'm hearing a lot of crazy details coming out of this that are just unbelievable. I'm like, no, there's no way that. And then we're doing the research on it and be like, well, yeah, they're actually calling for this, and everyone, of course, is saying that this is impossible. But the plan wants to take the already money that is collected through taxes and spend this on this kind of 10-year plan that everyone says it's virtually impossible. But let's lay out some of the bigger kind of proposals that are here, because I'm hearing high-speed rails, and automatically people are going to hear that and they're going to be like, yeah, I want high-speed rails. That makes a lot of sense. But then when you get into the kind of nitty-gritty, talking about replacing airplanes with high-speed rails in 10 years, I'm like, I think the bigger context here is that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is kind of well-meaning, but my own end point of view, and I know me and you disagree with this on Jason, is that she's kind of coming on and saying, well, this is a big problem with government. Now we need more government to fix this, which is something I am totally against. But let's get into some of the bigger specifics here and the bigger truths about this kind of proposal that she laid out. That, again, Jason, you pointed out, is not even that new.
No, so let's start with that, right? As you can see here, our Green New Deal is actually a paper that was put together in 2008 for a lot of proponents of what? Peak oil and carbon taxes and trading, Luke. This thing is littered with it. Littered with it. Now, some of the really more upsetting things about this is that there's actually some truth in it, Luke. For instance, they talk about the financial crisis, they talk about the corrupt banking system, they talk about the corrupt financial system, inflation, a lot of real things. And then it's kind of warped into this situation where they're going to tell you that we need zero greenhouse emissions by 2050, and that our 2010 levels, all right, and this is actually even mentioned in the resolution. By the way, guys, I don't know if you know, but we're in 2019. I don't know why we're so worried about the 2010 levels, how we're going to affect that. But that there needs to be a 40 to 60% decrease of greenhouse gas emissions from human sources. That is a direct quote from the actual resolution, which is a separate document. Now, think about that, folks. What are greenhouse gas emissions? That means you have to drive your car 40 to 60% less. That means you literally have to breathe 40 to 60% less, because again, this is a carbon tax and you emit carbon dioxide, the big evil greenhouse gas that needs to be taxed. And then somehow, globally, we haven't even got the US on board, Luke, but we're going to have net zero global emissions by 2050. I hope to be alive in 2050. I know you do too. I don't live in an imagination land where I think that's possible.
Now, Jason, I think me and you agree on one thing, not government, but one thing I think we do agree on is that, yes, our environment is being destroyed, and that there are certain elites who are using that aspect of it to punish the people and not the bigger corporations and the bigger interests. Because if you really look at the bigger facts between taking care of the environment, the U.S. military-industrial complex, the U.S. Department of Defense is one of the biggest polluters in the world, especially in the United States. But worldwide, when we're looking at the bigger picture here, we have to counter in China, Africa, and India, and their pollution, not only in the plastic to the oceans, but their larger overall kind of economic industrial activity that is leading to a lot of the destruction of our environment or of this planet. But again, a lot of elites use this kind of global warming kind of talking points to say we need a carbon tax, to say we need to punish regular people, while the bigger issues here are never really dealt with, and it's another form of control and another form of just biased information being thrown at you, being like, you, the individual, now you're responsible for this. And this is important to bring up because people are actually being inspired by this, including the governor of New York, Cuomo, who's saying, well, this is a great idea. Let's propose our own Green New Deal in the state of New York, which is absolute lunacy. The state of New York absolutely going down in just financial ruins very soon. It's incredible what's happening here. But let's get into that point here of the bigger context and issues with supposed these well-meaning people coming in being like, no, these are the problems. Here's a horrible solution that's going to make things that much worse. And this is what I think the Green Deal is. Do you agree with me or disagree with me, Jason?
Well, 1,000%. So I want to highlight some of the other lunacy in this thing, because it all sounds great on paper, right? We're going to meet 100% of the power demand in the United States through clean, renewable, and zero-emission energy sources. Woohoo! I mean, wind, solar, you name it, we're going to do it, and I am all for that. I honestly believe there are a lot of suppressed technologies out there.
But Jason, I would even have to, the suppressed technology aspect, another big issue, not talked about. A huge issue that, of course, oil cartels have been suppressing and keeping down with, of course, government. So I don't see government fixing this at all. And the bigger the context, the bigger kind of issue here is, of course, that the bigger truths here aren't addressed at all. Sorry, go ahead, Jason.
No, I mean, that all sounds great on paper, right, Luke? Because everybody wants that. And like I was just saying, there's a great possibility of suppressed technologies that are not in the control of the cartels out there, that control the oil industry, the natural gas industry, even the solar industry now to some extent. You know, these big businesses now are in full control of that. But I want to say that they go beyond that, Luke. They say they're going to fix every single problem in the world. I'm going to read this passage word for word. This is in the resolution. And it is so far beyond reality that we think we can do this. It speaks for itself. They're going to, quote unquote, promote justice and equity by stopping current, preventing future, and repairing. They're going to repair historic oppression of indigenous peoples, communities of color, migrant communities, deindustrialized communities, depopulated rural communities, the poor, low-income workers, women, the elderly, the unhoused, people with disabilities, the youth, referred to in this resolution as the frontline and vulnerable communities. Let me explain what they just said. They're going to fix every problem ever, and they're going to repair everything we've ever done that's wrong historically. They literally named every oppressed group. They don't say how they're going to do it. Think about what that says. I mean, they actually included women in there as half the global population in history. We're going to fix all the wrongs ever to women, Luke.
I mean, this is the bigger issue here because they come off well-meaning and they address some of the problems, and then they're like, "We're going to give you this for free." And again, nothing is for free. Someone has to pay for it. I mean, the United States is in so much debt, and honestly, I honestly, this is again, me and you disagree. You're kind of a limited government. I'm kind of a no government guy. I believe if government was out of the way, things would be way, way, way better. That's a whole different topic. Let's just kind of finish it off here because there's also important aspects of this because there's actually the physical writings. There's also some talking points that were leaked. Let us know the actual realities of this bill. Will it go through? Will it not go through? Because there's obviously people being inspired by this. How do you see this moving forward?
First of all, let's get it out of the way. It is not a bill. It is a resolution. And it is going nowhere. It doesn't matter that it's co-sponsored by Cory the Fake Booker running for 2020 president. Does not matter. Because again, once you look into this thing, Luke, again, peak oil promoted by this organization, but although she said unwilling to work, in the document itself, Luke, it clearly states they're going to guarantee jobs to everybody. Let's read this so people can understand, again, how ridiculous these promises are. They're going to be guaranteeing a job with a family-sustaining wage, adequate family and medical leave, paid vacations. You know who gets paid vacations? Not this guy. Not most people in this country anymore. Let's be honest. And retirement security to all people of the United States. That's a guarantee. So again, it doesn't matter your skill level. It doesn't matter your education level. You are now guaranteed a retirement plan, medical benefits. Doesn't matter if you want to show up, I guess, 20 hours to work. 5 hours? 1 hour? Maybe you want to call it in. I don't know when I read this crap, but I do know that this Green New Deal, the bigger document here, Luke, actually calls for, at one point, a carbon army. Yes, a carbon army. And we have to remember, in the actual document, because again, we're going to differentiate from the nonsense talking points that got leaked to the public that are just totally bat-ass crazy, to the fact that they say that they're going to create every single building in this country as a power station, upgrading all existing buildings in the United States and building new buildings to achieve maximum energy efficiency, water efficiency, safety, affordability, comfort, and durability, including through electrification. We got it, baby.
Yeah, and use probably smart grids and new control systems by the government, which keep it direct. Again, the way to hell is paved in good intentions, and I think this is a kind of great example of it, and I wish people would wake up. There's also a bigger factor here, is that a lot of raw elements, a lot of raw metals that actually cause a lot of environmental destruction are actually one of the resources used in these supposed renewable energy sources, while, of course, real free energy is being suppressed out there. And they say Ocasio-Cortez is the new future of the Democratic Party. Not looking good there for the future of that larger kind of corrupt institution, and I wish people would just wake up. And if you guys agree, share this video, because, of course, these are bigger kind of talking points that most of the people don't really bring on. So, Jason, finish it off here, and, yeah, let's call it there. I'm about to miss my flight here very soon.
So, folks, again, you have to read this for yourself. I'm going to put this up on screen just so people can read it. They want to create and train a carbon army of workers to provide the human resources for vast environmental reconstruction programs. If that's not scary, I don't know what is. Remember, we are truly independent media, coming at you not from the left, not from the right, but straightforward, with the truth, with the documents. So please support us. Get at us on Subscribe Star, subscribe to the backup channel, and if you can, please subscribe to our paid newsletter. A lot of free content there, and it helps support this media organization. Thank you very much.
Stay tuned for a lot more here on youtube.com/WeAreChange.